What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie, and today I'm going to list my top 10 Primus songs. I just did the ranking of the albums. Per the unwritten law, I must now do my top 10 songs. I was tempted, extremely tempted, to put all 10 of the Frizzle Fry songs on here, the ones that are actually songs and not like short little interludes or codas. That would have been 10 songs. I would have been happy with that list and probably like been able to stand by it. But there are other songs and other albums that I do like. And maybe if they were on Frizzle Fry, I was imagining like these songs would fit on Frizzle Fry. I wouldn't like them as much. Just because Frizzle Fry is to me like S plus tier. And then maybe you have couple S tier, couple A tier, and some B tier albums. But Frizzle Fry I love. But I didn't. I only went with 3 Frizzle Fry. So I have 3 Frizzle Fry, a couple Tales from the Punch Bowl. But yeah, then I'm a little all over the place. But yeah, that's all. This is my list of top 10 Primus songs. I'm going to go through them quickly. Then at the end, I will actually put on the list on the screen. I got there through Zappa because there was a Zappa cover band called Kaka that Primus was in the Bay Area in like the late 80s, early 90s. As has been pointed out in the comments, something I never actually bought. I was aware of it, but kind of completely forgot about it. Larry Lalonde did a Zappa Picks, as did John Fishman from Fish. I am eventually going to do a Fish ranking because they do play Peaches in Regalia, among other things. Plus, there is a Zappa sort of connection in their music also. But anyways, yeah, that's it. So I'm going to go through them, then you tell me which ones I missed, and you know how comments work. But anyways, this is it. Number 10, my 10th favorite Primus song is The Return of Southington Willoughby. Yeah, it is the opening track off the Brown album. It reminds me of sort of a lower key In the Flesh from Pink Floyd. If there was a video and or a movie with this song, it would be very much, think less in front of like a somewhat fascist crowd rallying the troops, and a little more of a positive, not quite as like inflammatory way as In the Flesh, but still there is an undercurrent to this song that to me feels a little subversive. And he gives like these speech, ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today, dude, that kind of thing. And then it goes into a dun 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 kind of jam in the middle that I really like. That might be the Nature Boy jam I just quoted. But there is a nice little jam in there that it goes into, like a little funk jam in between it. But I think it's a great opening track. I think one of the reasons I like the song so much is because it does serve as an excellent opening track to Brown album. But yeah, I think it's just it's definitely leaning into Primus's like eccentricities. You get a lot of less kind of preaching, talking. You get a little funk jam in the middle. It's a really good, fun song that makes me want to listen to the Brown album because I enjoyed that song so much. Number 9, Jilly's on Smack from Green Naugahyde. This is kind of a couple of these have like are Primus where they're doing a little more proggy composition where you have different parts and it's not just sort of a standard like jam or funk routine throughout the entire thing. This one starts off with some nice like King Crimson-ish Talking Heads, 80s type guitar dance, like kind of loops, vibes, rhythms. And then you get the rest of the band comes in and it gets a little funkier, gets a little heavier. The lyrics are kind of depressing because it's about Jilly who's on Smack. But this is one that kind of goes a little bit all over the place and just gets kind of weird and proggy in the middle, where there's kind of all these competing sort of ideas that are, or these different ideas that are sort of competing for each other in the middle section before it kind of resolves. But it feels kind of tortured. It's fun in that it's kind of a little all over the place. But if you listen to the lyrics, the vibe is a little bit darker. And when that bass comes in, I think he might be playing like an ebo, not an ebo, but he's playing like his bowed bass because the bass notes have a very like drawn out sound. Don't know for sure. You can let me know if you know. But yeah, it's just a really interesting song, that one of the stronger songs right in the sort of that middle third of Green Naugahyde. Number 8 off Anti-Pop, Eclectic Electric. This one reminds me of a bunch of Pink Floyd things. Has a little One of These Days vibe, a little maybe lower key One of These Days with some Happiest Days of Our Lives, sort of like that bass echo reverb thing that drops in. Little bit of a Set the Controls vibe, maybe. There's a nice little jam in the middle. The ending of it is just kind of fragmented and just kind of like meanders a little bit, but I like when Primus sort of takes their time and explores ideas and let things build. I think they're really good at that when they let themselves do it. And this is one of those sort of longer, more drawn out, more like stewing type vibes, but with some really, of course, little funk in there, but some really neat sort of atmospherics that run through the whole thing. Number 7, Camelback Cinema. Another just kind of weird, eclectic song. This is off. What is Camelback Cinema on? I cannot remember what album Camelback Cinema is on. It is also on, it's on Tales from the Punch Bowl? Why can I not remember what album that song is on? No, it's from the Brown album also. Yeah, Camelback Cinema. Yeah, it's just another kind of weird, starts off with a very kind of prominent drum beat that's different than most of their intros. But yeah, I really like it. It's a really good song. It's a little funky. Parts of it towards the middle remind me of very slightly The Police's Behind My Camel, which they did cover on the EP that followed the Brown album, which makes me think the titles are somehow connected, or this title is connected to Behind My Camel. But it's another one of those, it's just a little bit different. They're kind of doing something a little bit different, not just writing Les's like amazing funk grooves. Number 6, off Tales from the Punch Bowl, Why Known as Big Brown Beaver, and outright, it's a silly song, but that groove, just that rhythm, and just the kind of silly lyrics and the sort of play on words and all that kind of stuff. It's a fun song with an amazing groove that it wants me not to like make it a top 10 because it's so irrelevant and silly and like play on words, cartoonish, but it is such a good groove and such a good jam that I just can't deny it's absolute brilliance. Number 5 is Nature Boy off of, I am really not good with what albums these middle, I think this is off Pork Soda, right? I get Pork Soda and Brown album mixed up. I'm pretty sure this is off Pork Soda. Yeah, it's off Pork Soda. And this is another one of those that like has a whole bunch of kind of different vibes going on to it, has a really good kind of starts off slow and then kicks in to a really good, just your standard typical Primus sort of funk groove in the middle of it. Little bit all over the place. Again, some weird, quirky lyrics. But I think it's sort of one of the more like serious, not really serious, but has more of a serious musical tone than some of the stuff around it, but it holds down sort of the middle of the album really well. I think it comes almost smack dab in the middle of the album, but it just like holds everything else together as sort of like a centerpiece. Yeah, really strong song. Number 4 is the first of 3 Frizzle Fry songs, Spaghetti Western. This is the one that is just amazing, repetitive drum rhythm that kind of has a Tomorrow Never Knows vibe. Les is doing some like talking, why do we do this, CG and I? Minds numbed by THC and all that stuff. We need new pornos. I always just quote the same lines because those are the ones I remember. But yeah, it's just kind of him talking, then it goes off into this jam, and it has what always reminds me of like an Exposure jam, a Peter Gabriel Exposure jam at the end, but it just kind of rides this groove, a lot of like an instrumental jamming at the end. One of those that when they were doing it live, it was just so like epic to just ride that jam at the end. It just felt so kind of proggy, kind of a little more epic than some of the more straightforward funk stuff. Number 3, Tales from the Punch Bowl's Southbound Pachyderm. Another slow, simmering number. Has really good tension and release in it. Kind of more low-key. The Claypool, Lennon Delirium, I think always did this live, or almost always did this live. Every time I saw them, they did this song. But it just has definitely more of a prog feel. It's not as funk-leaning as some of their other stuff, though it has its moments, of course. But it just feels a little more atmospheric, a little more thought out, a little more not typical Primacy. Number 2, Herald of the Rocks. The first song I ever really got into when I was seeing them live back in their club days. It's just such a catchy song. I love Les's, well, the way he would tell the story. And then the Herald of the Rocks. And then the breakdown in the middle with a really nice Larry solo that kind of builds up and gets crazy before they go back into the song. The ending, who knows whatever happened to Herald. The little asides by Les in the vocals. Just a really good song. And Larry's playing throughout the entire thing, just accents the vocals and the rhythm so well. It's a really solid, good group effort that really gives everybody kind of a chance to stand out. And then number one, hands down, what I think is their best song, no argument, nothing else could ever beat this, the title track off their debut album, Frizzle Fry. That song is just an outright beast. I love the way it builds. I love the jam at the end, the lyrics, pretty much, I'm sure, about Barrington Hall and sort of the acid casualties that would wander those halls many a night and many a day. They threw parties all the time. We went to many of those parties, and you could pretty much wander into any room or down any hallway on any night, and something crazy was happening. And you would go into the bathrooms, and you would find just people just like hanging out there, like experiencing things that only they could experience because it was all up here. It is a song that I think does an excellent job of capturing sort of what rampant overuse of psychedelic drugs can do to a person. And I think this song expertly captures in the music, in the lyrics, in the vibe, what that sort of the darker side of that experience. But yeah, those are my 10 favorite. Look, they're right there. Or maybe they're right there. My 10 favorite Primus songs. Yeah, 3 Frizzle Fry, a couple Tales from the Punch Bowl, 1 from a couple others. Yeah, a couple Brown album ones. Yeah, just some really good songs. I do find they have a lot of songs, like I think the Brown album and Pork Soda in particular have just a sequence of really strong songs where not one thing particularly stands out. Where Frizzle Fry, I think, everything stands out. But anyways, I'm rambling. I already covered that. Anyways, that's it. Don't want to ramble anymore. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your favorite songs are, what song I should check out anymore. A couple people have commented on the album videos about songs they liked that. Yes, those are also very good songs. Electric Grapevine. Yeah, that is a very good song. Just not one of my top 10. But anyways, yeah, that's it. I'm going to eventually, probably early next week, touch on the entire world of Les Claypool and do the Claypool, Lennon, Delirium, the Oysterhead, the Frog Brigade, maybe do a list of just his side work and rank those because some of those I actually really like. So anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe, share, like. Go listen to music because that's what the purpose of this is to go listen to more music. All right. Thanks, y'all. Peace. Talk to you later.